Hey, hello everybody. Melinda Russell with the Women's Motorsports Network, and it is Sunday, June 11th, 2023. In case you're watching this 5 years from now, you never know. It's going to be out there, Kylie. So you might as well know that somebody might be listening to this, down the road. So, welcome to our Sunday night Let's Talk Racing Live. My co-host Brett Timmerman is here with us. He's got his sweatshirt on because it's cold in Michigan today.
Cold
Is
in
it
Iowa
cold?
too.
Cold in Iowa. I don't know what happened, but you guys got your sweatshirts on, and I had my heater on before you logged in. So,
It's supposed to be 48 degrees tonight.
oh my gosh. Okay. I don't know what it's supposed to be here, but anyway, I'm inside where it's nice and warm. So that's all that matters. So we are doing our live show. If you want to comment, ask a question of our guest or anything, just get on the comments and put a comment in there or a question. We'd love to have you do that. So, Kylie, I want to welcome you to the show. We've had you on before, but just for a little short, almost like an advertisement, because you were showing me how to use and I want to say it right, Highline.
Hightail.
Hightail. I should remember ponytail.
Yeah.
Yeah. So hightail that you use for when your hair is long and you race. So I want you to tell us about that too at some point in the show. But that was really interesting, and I gave one to my granddaughter, and she's been using it, so that's all good. So why don't you first, Kylie, tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, your family, your pets, anything, where you work, anything like that, so we can get to know who you are a little better, and then we'll talk about your race story.
Yeah. So I'm from Central Iowa. We live near Newton. Kellogg is where we live, kind of out in the country. I don't have a really interesting day job. I work in an office for a local college. I assist some of the faculty members and just kind of have a jack of all trades job there. So I'm married to my husband, Zach. Have been for, I think we're going into year 9. I have a 5-year-old son, Sawyer, who I'll probably be a race mom at some point. I feel like he likes everything that's fast right now. And he's getting to that age.
Yeah.
And we have two dogs. Got a mutt that's, I don't know, she's probably 50 pounds, named Memphis. We have a corgi named Rowdy. And we have kind of a feral cat that I feed. Before I worked at the college, I went to school to be a veterinary technician, so I did that for about 8 years. So kind of keeps my husband on his toes. Never know what I'm going to bring home.
Yeah.
So yeah, we don't have too many animals right now, but who knows?
But he's always prepared for whatever's in the back of the car, the truck, or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of cool. What made you change from the veterinary to the office job? Unless it's too personal to ask that. I'm just curious.
No, not at all. I mean, some of it was just, you have to work some Saturdays, and that doesn't work out well if you're racing Friday night.
True.
But after I switched, careers after we had our son. Just working as a vet tech, sometimes you end up late hours. Sometimes I work 12-hour shifts, and just a more regular schedule was a lot easier after we had children. So we kind of have
that makes sense.
Yeah, we have a little bit of a side gig that supports our racing habit. So we work a lot, and just having more structured hours definitely helped.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially when you have children, they get to the age where they're in school and then they start playing t-ball and all those different things. So yeah, I understand that. I just thought it was a very different change from one to the other. So yeah. So what about your coworkers? Do they know you race? And if so, what do they say about it?
Yeah, it's kind of funny. I think I kind of ran like under the radar for the first couple of years that I worked there. I don't talk about it a lot because I don't know. I feel like if you're outside of the racing community, maybe this is a bad attitude to have, that you don't really understand. Like,
oh no, that's
hard
normal.
to get somebody else excited about it.
Mm-hmm.
But actually recently got two new people in my office, and both of them kind of had ties to racing, which was kind of interesting. So it's been, I am no longer living a double life at work. All of a sudden, all of my coworkers know about my racing, which is cool. They've been supportive. A lot of them have bought T-shirts and stuff, so I can't really complain. But one of them found my TikTok account, and it's pretty much blown up from there.
Yeah.
So, but
You know,
okay.
it's normal when you say that. When I ask somebody the question, what do your coworkers think, or what do your fellow classmates think, if it's somebody that's in school, a lot, I would say more often than not, they don't talk about it with them, or they don't really tell them a whole lot because they don't understand. And, sometimes when they're younger, they're made fun of. The boys
Mhm.
make fun of them, say, oh, that's not really a sport. You know how it goes. And
Yep,
so,
definitely.
yeah. And so really that is actually probably the normal response to that question. And yet it seems like, I guess because we're involved in racing, it seems like it's in the news and we know all about it. But I can think back to when, between the time that I used to go to the races all the time, then my kids were playing sports, so we didn't follow it. You really, and now that I think about it, really don't hear about it as much, as you would other sports. And so I can see why and I hate to use the word ignorant, but a little bit ignorant about what it works. Everybody thinks racing is NASCAR. Oh, is it NASCAR? Is
Yeah.
it like NASCAR? And no, it's a sprint car, or no, it's a dragster. And
Yep.
a lot of
And
people don't even know that those exist.
no, and where we live, we're really close to Newton, so we're really close to the NASCAR track that's there, and we're not too far from Knoxville. So usually the first two questions are, "Oh, do you race in Newton?" Like, "No, it's dirt racing." And then they're like, "Do you race at Knoxville?" And I'm like, "No, that's sprint cars." Like,
Yeah.
so it's kind of hard to explain, but yeah, it, it's gotten easier to talk about it now at work, and sometimes I feel like it was better before because I get carried away. I was like, oh yeah, we've been talking about racing for 30 minutes. Shouldn't we be working? So
Yeah. Yeah. Well, sometimes you got to have that water cooler talk, though, right?
yeah.
I wouldn't
Yeah.
even know what to talk about if it wasn't for racing.
I know.
I've been in the racing game since 1981 when I was born.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's just normal for us, for sure.
Yeah.
And I apologize if you hear some noise, but my husband is outside. We have no grass because we built a new house, and it's been so dry we couldn't plant grass or do anything, and it's full of weeds. So he got a disc from a friend of ours, and he borrowed a little tractor from another friend. And so he decided, because he's forgotten that I'm recording, he decided that he was going to go out and disc the side yard, which is right next to my office. So if you hear something in the background, it's just him out there doing his farmer thing because it rained today. So now it's easier to chop it all up. So anyway.
It sounded to me like he was running a blender.
No, he's just disking, and then the dog's barking. So it's just a typical day here at the Russell house for sure. So Kylie, what do you do for fun when you're not racing?
Um,
Or do you have any time to do
yeah, I
anything when
mean,
you're not racing?
I race and my husband races, and that definitely keeps us busy. We have one crew guy that comes and does he does a lot of our tire work most of the time, but other than that, I mean, we're our own pit crew for the most part. So we do all the work on these cars.
Yeah.
I would say, like, in the off season, if we're not in the shop working, we have a lot of family close by, so we just spend time with family. I like to bake and cook. That's probably one of my hobbies. But yeah, I mean, it sounds crazy, but even in the off season, my husband and like a group of racers, they're gonna laugh because I'm gonna give them a shout out. They have RC cars, and they built an RC car track and they have like little modifieds and late models and stuff now that they make. So they have like a whole point system. They run transponders. Like, they have a whole like little RC car racing league that we do. in the winter, but it keeps us in contact with all of our friends
Yeah.
and stuff over the winter. So we
I
get
mean,
together
that
every
sounds
Sunday.
fun. You know,
Yeah.
really, it does
Mhm.
sound fun. And I was thinking big boys with little toys
Yeah,
when you
definitely.
said that.
So
But
it's just, yeah,
RC cars are almost as expensive as racing a beginner car.
they're getting kind of pricey. Yeah.
yeah.
But so yeah, he has a little modified and a late model that he races, and it's literally just a bunch of other drivers from our area that we're friends with.
Yeah.
And the women, we stand in the corners with broom handles and flip cars back over. So we're called tow trucks.
Okay. That's
So
cute.
everybody plays a role. The kids have their like Walmart RC cars. They put them on the track and race too. And so it's fun.
It does sound fun. And,
Yeah.
you know, the winter can get kind of long in Iowa if it's cold and snowy and blowing, just like Michigan. So that's a good thing to have that to look forward to
Yeah.
when you know racing's going to be over. So
Mhm.
that's kind of cool. I like that idea.
You guys just need to get you one of these things that you can go race indoors with us in the winter.
There you
I
go.
know, right? Then we'd be set. We could never not race.
Right, right. And but you don't want to burn out either. So yeah.
We race year round, like January, February, March. We're in Oklahoma. North Carolina starts in April, and then we can race nonstop if we really wanted to. We only go like once or twice a month.
Yeah. Yeah. They're race crazy, those people that race in the winter. So Kylie, how did you get started involved in motorsports? Tell me who got you interested, and tell me your story from beginning to where you are now.
Yeah. So I'm 34. My dad has been racing. I think this is year 43. I'll eventually hopefully get him in my car this year, but he's not gone a year in 43 years of not driving a race car. So I definitely grew up around it. I'm originally from Jewel, which is up north of Ames, Iowa. A lot of people know where Ames is because Iowa State
School.
University. So I grew up going to Hamilton County Speedway every weekend. And my dad probably is best known for modified and late model racing up around there. We had a traveling late model series that kind of ended, I don't know, I say a few years back, but it's been more than a few years now, called the Deary Brothers Summer Series. So my dad ran that series, which is mostly in Iowa, but they would go to like Illinois and I think up to Minnesota occasionally. So we grew up doing that. So in the middle of summer, you know, he was doing weekly racing plus the Deary Brothers series. And, you know, sometimes we were racing 3 and 4 nights a week. So I grew up around it. I loved it. I often passed over, like, I never went to prom because it always conflicted with a race, and I just went to that instead. So a lot of my friends were around racing, and I just, you know, kind of grew up around it that way. And then kind of fast forward a few years, I met my husband, and he's also a second generation racer. So I married into another racing family. His dad raced and his cousin races. So I've kind of fit in pretty well, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And so 3 years ago, my husband made a pretty big mistake. He let me drive his car at a powder puff race. And I'd kind of always wanted to race. Like I grew up during a time where there wasn't a lot of females in race cars.
Mm-hmm.
And I just never considered it as a possibility for myself. You know, kind of the early 2000s, you didn't see a lot of female racers. There was a few.
Right.
So I got into his car that night and I just bugged him constantly after that. I was like, do you think we could buy another car? And it played into my favor because at the time he was considering trading his modified for a stock car. He was really interested. Stock car class is kind of really building about 3 years ago in this area. And one weekend when he was busy, I found this car for sale and it was just like 45 minutes away. I was like, I'm going to go look at it with my dad. And I took the cash to buy it. with me.
Well,
So I
that
had
was
no
your first
intentions of not
mistake.
buying the car.
Yeah.
And my dad definitely has an attitude of like, he can look at any piece of junk and just see a diamond in the rough. He's like, no, we can fix it. We can make it great. So it's an old car. We didn't pay very much for it, but we brought it home with the intentions of, we got a good deal on it. Maybe it gets built, maybe it doesn't. And we got about 95% of the way there, and it was like, well, we've only got a few more things to stick on this thing. It'll be ready to go. We built it and got it to the track. Zach drove it one time and said he didn't like it, and I was like, okay, cool. Like, I like it. So since then, he's driven it a couple more times. He's like, okay, it's not so bad, but it kind of became my car, and we've kept the modified obviously too. So it's been fun though. I've never driven anything in my life, and I'm rolling into season 3. We had a little bit of a hiccup last week. I blew up the motor that we had. We don't have a backup, so we're kind of scrambling right now to figure out a plan. But I don't know if I really have an update to share other than I guess it's probably good that this is on video, but my husband said he thinks that we'll have the car back to the track on Friday. So hopefully that's the case.
Okay, weird. And this is recorded, so you can.
Yeah. Who's your motor builders?
So Mid-States built the motor that was in here, and if you're from Iowa, you know Mid-States.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, really anywhere around here, Mid-States builds a great motor. We figure it probably had close to 70 nights on it. So you can't ask much more out of a motor than that. We knew starting the season that was a possibility, that it probably wouldn't run forever. So we have a bit of a luxury. My father-in-law does build some motors, lives right down the road from us and has all the equipment to do so. And so Zach actually right now is over there messing with this motor, trying to get it tore down to see if we can maybe put it back together ourselves and make it through the rest of the season. But other than that, we've just been looking for maybe a used motor with 20 or 30 nights on it to get us through. So we'll see what happens. I'm staying positive.
Absolutely,
we'll get something put in it. So
Brett, did you have something you wanted to share?
Oh, I was just gonna tell her that's pretty good for Mid-State, because I know Andy usually wants you to have it rebuilt every like 15 nights. So
yeah. Yep. So it did great. I have nothing bad to say about Mid-States. They build a great motor, great reputation. Often you look at the top 10 in stock cars around here, and 9 out of the 10 are Mid-States motors.
Yeah. So what you're driving the car that you bought cheap and took home and fixed, and what did you say? What kind of car is that, and what class do you race in?
Yeah, so it's an IMCA stock car. It's a 2008 Terminator, so it's a pretty old car. It's about 15 years old, but it's run well. My dad drove it last year a couple times, and he did win a feature in it. So at Boone, they had kind of a unique race. They called it a first time winners race, but basically as long as you hadn't won in an IMCA stock car, you could enter. So a lot of really good drivers that showed up to drive borrowed stock cars, and he held off Jeremy Mills, who normally drives a modified, really great driver, in this old car for, I don't know, 20 or 25 laps, whatever it was. But they lined the race up by age. So my dad got to start on the pole.
Oh, that's cool. I like how they do that.
So yeah, I don't know if they're going to do it again this year, but obviously he can't be in it. So I was kind of hopeful that maybe I could try and be in it this year. So
yeah, that sounds fun. I like when I hear how tracks are doing different things, because I'm used to what my tracks do that I go to week after week. And, so then hearing that, and I've heard, where they stacker races where they put a car on top of a car. The bottom car uses the gas and the top car steers or something. It's crazy. But anyway, I always like hearing unique ideas of something to bring the fans out too. Something different, to make it fun for sure.
I think Boone does the Hawkeye Challenge, right?
Yeah.
That's where like the Hawkeye Challenge, I believe, I haven't ever watched it, but you get like every class that wants to enter it. So you can have modified stock cars, 4 cylinders, everything's in that. They're all racing together in one race.
Yeah,
Oh, that sounds
they
fun
ran
too.
it just yesterday. And back in, I think my mom said 1992, my dad won that race.
Oh, really?
Really?
In a late model. So they used, I think in a late model. They used to have late models, sprint cars, modifieds, and then I think like hobby stocks and stock cars all on the same track. So
That'd be an interesting race to watch too.
yeah.
Yeah, interesting. So Kylie, what's your home track, or do you not really have one? You travel. What do you do?
Yeah, we race at Marshalltown Speedway about every Friday. My goal this year was to race every Friday. The last 2 years I've missed one night, but obviously that's not going to happen because I didn't get to race on Friday. So my husband has raced all the nights so far, and I think he's sitting third in points. So he's kind of chasing points this year, maybe. We're going to see how it goes. Probably like second most track that we run is probably Stewart Speedway, and then Benton County Speedway. We usually race there a few times, and from there it gets, we have like a lot of tracks that we race once or twice a year.
Yeah.
But we just kind of race when we can, wherever we can. Last year I think we raced at about 15 different tracks all over Iowa. So it gets to the end of the year, and these tracks are having like
Big
2-day
races.
specials or kind of
Yeah.
one-off races, and it's fun to go try something that you haven't tried before.
Right.
It's still in our plans to do, they have what they call Midwest Madness here in Iowa, and I think it's 4 or 5 different tracks. And so we get the stock car back together. We're planning on taking both cars to Midwest Madness. So that'll be 5 different tracks and 5 nights.
Oh, that
right
sounds
there.
fun.
But, yeah. So yeah, we just kind of go wherever. We raced down at Lee County Speedway once or twice this year. We raced down at Burlington a couple weeks ago at 34 Raceway.
Yeah.
I think that's about it so far this year.
Yeah. And gosh, Iowa has so many tracks.
Yeah.
I interview women that drive 2 or 3 hours. Well, Brett drives Adriana a long ways to race, but there's a lot of people that drive hours on a weekly basis to race. And I'm lucky we don't have to drive far to watch a race. But you do have a lot of tracks in Iowa that you have choices that you can do or go to, and a lot of dirt tracks. I have one dirt track close to me here.
Yeah.
So it's
we're
just a difference in the location.
We're lucky in, that if Marshalltown rains out north of us, we can usually head south and go to Columbus Junction or Lee County Speedway. We got Davenport. They're all about the same distance. So,
right.
And we've definitely done that before, where one place rains out and we've got 3 or 4 other options. So it's really nice.
Yeah.
Have you raced Columbus Junction yet?
I haven't raced there in the stock car yet. Zach raced there. Boy, I lose track of the years. Last year or the year before, they have a Thanksgiving race.
Yep.
Yeah, he really liked it. The problem is he also really likes racing at Donaldson, so a lot of times he'll pick that one first. We actually set out one night when Marshalltown rained out this year. We were headed to Columbus Junction, and the truck blew a radiator hose about 10 miles from home. So we had to figure out how to fix that and get home. Thankfully, we weren't too far, but otherwise we would have been there once this year already.
Yeah. So I live like 20 minutes from there, or 15 minutes from there. So
yeah, they've got a great reputation. They prep the track really well there, it seems like, and they get a good car count too.
Their payout, he's really good on his payout.
Yeah,
that
helps.
Yeah, he pays really good throughout the field.
Well, and that's what racers, they're not going there just for fun. I mean, they're going for fun, but they can't go just for fun all the time. And if somebody's paying a little better here and you have a choice, that kind of sways where you're going to go race. Yeah, sure. Especially you're running 2 cars.
Yeah, we're definitely budget racers. We kind of have to pick and choose where we go, and we check ahead of time. What's the payout through the field? Like, I I know realistically is still kind of a beginner. You know, you got to look at tow pay, or I mean, for any racer to see what you get if you get wrecked or something and don't
Yeah.
get to run the feature or whatever. But
Right.
seems like some of them don't really pan out very well, and sometimes we choose to stay at home because of that.
Yeah.
You got to at least go and hope to make back a little bit of the money that you spent to get there. But
Right.
yeah.
Right. You know, and pit passes are going up and tires and everything. And so, you know, you know, what I pay to get in now, gosh, one of the tracks went up $5, and that's the
Mhm.
senior rate. And that's what we used to pay for like a special event. And it's not even that great of a track to go to. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mhm.
if I had a choice between two tracks, and I would never choose that one as my first one. I would always go to the other one, but sometimes, like you say, it rains or they're not racing or whatever. But yeah, it's getting to be more and more expensive, and yet we seem to find a way to get there, don't we?
We do. Yep.
It's crazy because
Ooh,
pre-COVID,
sorry.
pre-COVID, IMCA tires, the Hoosiers, were $90. Now they're 170 or whatever they are. And you know, these little dinky tires we run right there are $130. Like,
Yeah.
and
We
we go through a lot of tires on these little go-karts, and
Yeah.
then
we on the stock car mostly we usually Zach runs the tires a couple nights and I run the takeoffs.
yeah,
Yeah.
My first year racing, I don't think that we put a single new tire on my car. Everything was, you know, the modifieds are pretty competitive anymore. Those guys don't run
Yeah.
sets for more than a night or two. You know, thankfully they've opened up the rules so we can groove tires, and that helps us, you know, as budget racers a little bit. We can put in the extra time to groove them and get us a little bit of an advantage. But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't put a lot of new tires on this car. Most of them are either the ones that Zach's taken off, or we've got a couple other drivers that have a little bit bigger budget that we know that we buy them used from them,
Yeah.
or get them given to us. And we're grateful for them. So we
Right.
groove them up and put them on.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, did you tell me what class do you run in?
So it's an IMCA stock car.
Oh yeah, you said that. IMCA
Mhm.
stock car. Okay, sorry about that. So tell me about your car number and your color. What does it look like, and how did you choose your number?
Yeah, you can kind of see it behind me here.
A little bit, yeah.
So it's purple and gray this year. I've had purple from the start for my first car. The 37 is my dad's number. It's kind of funny when I sent him the picture of the first car after it got wrapped. He was like, "Hey, choose your own number," and it just made sense to me that I would pick a 37. Like I've got 37 on so many pieces of clothing and stuff from him. I just
Yeah.
felt like he's not officially retired, but you know, I decided I'd kind of take over the number. But purple's always been my favorite color, so I went with purple, and we've kind of stuck with it. You don't see a lot of purple cars. It seems like it's popping up more and more, but we actually did a purple modified for Zach. I'm looking at the doors up on the wall.
Yeah.
I think 3 years ago. And so he's kind of stuck with it up until this year. And then he decided to build an all red car.
Okay.
But as soon as we got it wrapped, he was like, "No, I kind of missed the purple already." So I think you'll see the modified go back to purple at some point.
You know, you really don't see it a lot of purple. No.
No. Yeah.
So
kind of
yeah,
stands out.
I would
It's
go
nice.
with the purple because there's a lot of red cars, and of course a lot of black cars too.
Mhm.
My granddaughter's car this year has a really cool wrap, and it's like shades of red and magenta and a little bit of purple and pink, and you know, it really stands out on the track because it's different. Yeah,
Mhm.
for sure. So Kylie, what's your most memorable moment so far in your racing career?
Oh, a couple of them. I would say so. My first year, I didn't really think much about it, but I ended up at the banquet. I was rookie of the year in the stock car class at Marshalltown Speedway, so that was definitely cool to be highest in
Yeah.
points. I think I finished 9th or 10th in points that year, and I've had a couple. You know, the stock car class around here is really, really tough. And I'm not trying to use that as an excuse or anything, but you know, I've put together a couple of pretty good runs. I was a couple laps away from winning my first heat race down in Memphis last year. And, you know, that was definitely memorable. There was, I was leading and there was a red flag, and it bunched the field up. But there was no video of it or anything, but my husband's like, oh, you would have won if it would have stayed green. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
So, but I've put together a couple, I've been really close to a top 5. I've had a couple 6th place finishes. So that's kind of my goal for this year, is see if I can get in the top 5 a couple nights.
Yeah.
If you can do that at Marshalltown, you're doing a pretty good job. You know, week to week, I race with, you know, a field full of cars that win features regularly, super nationals champions, national champions, state champions. I mean,
Bristol
it's really
champions.
tough, but it makes you better. So
yeah.
yep.
Yeah, and Brett would be familiar with that, you know, because he hears about those people that race there and that, so he would understand that better than I about it. But you know, that makes you better though too. You don't want to race and win every week, you know. I mean, sure, okay, maybe you do, but really, it's nice to be able to see the progression that you make, and that, well, I started here, and now this year I've gotten 3 top 5s. Look where I've come. And so that's always a good thing too, to feel like you're not just maintaining, but that you're getting better.
Yeah. And you know, the creation of my race pass and these transponders and stuff, and being able to log in and see your lap times is great. Because I can look last year where I was at this time, you know, in the season, and compare it to what I'm doing now. And I know I'm getting closer.
Yeah.
You know, at the end of the year last year, there were a lot of nights that I was a full second off the field. But now I'm like, you know, somewhere between 3/10 and a half second off, you know, the 5th place car. I'm like, okay, that's a lot better than I was doing last year.
Right.
And I don't want to say I'm at a disadvantage with having an older car. You know, my dad proved me wrong with that one, that it can go fast. But and my husband's jumped in a couple times and had good runs. But I mean, there's a lot of cars in the field that are brand new that have, you know, really nice motors in their cars that aren't running a mid-states motor with 70 nights on it. So
yeah, exactly.
Now it's going to be a 15-year-old car with potentially a home-built motor. So we'll see how it goes. But I think it's also kind of like, get out there. I've got nothing to lose. Like, it's an old car. It's a piece together motor. Like, if I can do good, great. You know, it's saying something.
And you're having fun, and you're spending the time with your husband and people that you love.
Yeah, definitely.
You're gonna feel better about yourself being in an old car beating Damon or Dallin Murdy than, you know, that's gonna make you feel good. I had an old car and I beat them before when I raced stock cars. Like, so stock, like she said, the stock car class around here is the show to watch, especially Marshalltown. And them guys are spending, like, I know guys that are really good to sell their cars for $20,000 without a motor. So, I mean,
and
it's crazy.
I know that we've got way less than that in the whole car.
Yeah.
So, when we went and bought this car as a roller, we paid $1,500, which is pretty dang cheap. And I've got a handy husband. He did some welding on it. We've, you know, kind of pieced together anywhere that we felt like we weren't going to sacrifice performance and we could buy a used part that cost us half as much. We absolutely did it. There's a lot of used parts. You know, other than a handful of things, I can't really think of anything that's new on this car. So the shocks were used, you know, almost everything is used on it. But it's even more fun to go out and compete and be keeping up in an old car.
Absolutely.
You know, maybe someday I'll save enough and I'll have a newer car.
Well, but like Brett said, even if you don't, you know, it's not just about the car. Sometimes it's about how the driver drives the car. You know, you can hear him say, oh, so-and-so got way more out of that car than what it should have been. And so, and on any given night, anything can happen. And so the chance of you winning or doing is just as good as anybody else's.
Yeah, these stock cars especially, you know, there's only so much you can do to them setup wise, and it go. And I feel like in comparison, you know, with Zach's modified, if you're off by an inch somewhere, you are off by a mile on the track. And it's really not the same way with these stock cars. You watch a lot of guys drive their way out of a bad setup, and they can, you know, still put together a good run. So,
you know, street stocks are one of the best classes to watch here too. I think it's just, you know, they're not, they don't have all the money, although some of them do, but they don't have big money in them like the late models and that. And the drivers are usually not long term. They haven't maybe been at it as long as some of the others. And the racing is just so much better. You know, I went to I saw an outlaw late model race on the weekend, and it was a 100-lap race, and there wasn't even a caution until 30 laps left to go. You know, it was just, they just went round and I mean, I just had somebody say to me, "Oh, you like the roundy round racing." And I said, "Should I take that as an insult or a compliment?" But we laughed, you know, but it was just roundy round. And there really was, like, I looked at my husband and said, "Let's go." You know, you kind of saw who was probably going to win and whatever. But, you know, street stocks, I tell you, they're out there, and I don't care what the prize money is. They want to win. That's just all there is to it, you know? So
you go to Marshalltown and you blink. If you go to Marshalltown and you blink, the lead's going to change. Like, that's how good the racing there is. Pretty awesome. And the announcer makes it even better.
Yeah. And, you know, I think both 100 cars, you've got a little more leeway with like how much beating and banging you can do. And the drivers at Marshalltown know the limit there. They, you know, they're not scared to get up beside you and rub fenders and, you know, use you up. So I think, you know, my husband gets on me a lot, but part of it is definitely that I'm not quite aggressive enough or confident enough yet in the car. And I think it's more frustrating for him to watch me, because I get on him about the same things, like, "Oh, you're not aggressive enough. Everybody, you know, the guys that are getting past you, you're letting up for them." Well, I do the same thing. But it's interesting to get to watch the replays and stuff and analyze, like, "Oh, that's the point where I let up and I really shouldn't have, like, you know, that wasn't going to play out as bad as I thought it was going to." So
and some of that just comes with seat time and confidence, and you'll get there. You know, you'll get there for sure. It's it's interesting that sometimes the girls that I talk to are same as you, where they're like, you know, "Oh, I don't want to be accused of wrecking people and causing all the cautions and all this," you know. And yet on the other side, they learn who they can push around. Absolutely. And if they learn they can push you around, they will. And so there's a happy medium somewhere in there that you'll find. You'll find at some point.
But a lot of it is too, like, my budget, I couldn't be aggressive. A lot of these guys can be aggressive on their budget. So, like, when you're racing on a budget, like, you know, like she is, and like what I used to, you can't go be aggressive, because if you tear something up, you might sit out a week.
Yeah, you definitely pick your battles on the racetrack. I mean, you know, maybe you're running back in 10th place, and the guy that's trying to pass you is just all over the track and coming across and trying to hit you and stuff. And sometimes it's better to let off. You know, you're not getting paid anymore to get 10th, you know, versus 11th, and it's not worth tearing up equipment. So I've definitely learned kind of where that line is too, on when it's best to just let somebody by and not get wrecked. Because you know, the first season we hung a used up body that was on my car, and it wasn't very pretty, but my husband was adamant, "You don't need a new body. You're going to make contact with a lot of cars, probably the wall and some tractor tires." And he was right. I got really good at fixing bodies. And, I tore the door off that thing almost every week to straighten it back out. But it also, you know, having a used up body made me a little less scared to make contact with people. In fact, I can remember the first car that I passed, and when I passed him, I doored him really hard, and I still passed him. I was like, well, that was kind of a bad lesson to learn. Like, I hit him, but I passed him, and I never saw him again.
Yeah.
But you know, you have moments like that where you're like, okay, I was aggressive and I got the spot. Like, hopefully that guy was okay. Which that was another moment where I watched the replay and I was like, oh, it wasn't that bad. He was fine. I
Yeah.
didn't even get him sideways. But you learn, like, oh, you can hit somebody that hard and keep going. You know.
Right.
So
Yeah. And I love listening to you talk about that, because a lot of people don't understand, like, and I've never driven. I've driven a race car on a track where there was no other cars. So that doesn't count. But that's what you learn. And I like hearing you say, this is what I did, and I watched the replay. And so you're out there doing the best you can, you're having fun. And if you get a scratch on your car, it's okay, right? Because it's not a brand new body. My granddaughter this year got a brand new, beautiful wrap, the one I told you about. And so I think, she was probably, and she's got a nice sponsor. I think she was a little nervous about getting the first scratch on it. Somebody else got the first scratch on her. It wasn't her fault. So then she was a little more ready to race after that happened, because she hated to see that car get dented in or messed up. But yeah, that's just how it goes, and you've got to be ready for that. And so
definitely.
Kylie, is there very many women that race against you?
Yeah, there's actually quite a few women in the stock car class around here. We've had a few nights at Marshalltown where it was really close to the women almost outweighing the men. I've Leah Roten races at Marshalltown somewhat regularly. She's a really good stock car driver. We've got Taylor Poole is in a stock car now.
Yeah.
And she's at Marshalltown most of the time, it seems like.
Right.
She's really good, really competitive. And we've got a handful of others too that we run into at different tracks. But there's been nights when there's been 4 or 5 female drivers just in the stock car class at Marshalltown. So it's great to see. But yeah, kind of all over the place. I see more and more popping up, and yeah, it's good.
Yeah, it's good to see, isn't it, that you're not the only one. My granddaughter is still the only one in the street stock class, both at Kalamazoo and Galesburg. But and most of the places that she goes, she still is. But there are other women that are racing at the track. But it kind of goes up and down. It's like there's a bunch of them, and then there's not very many, and that. But overall, I think we're seeing more and more women, especially younger, like where Adriana races. There's a lot of little girls at that track at English Creek.
Yeah, that's over by Knoxville. That I don't know if you've heard of it. I'm sure you'll be hearing of it if your kid gets into racing.
Yeah, I've heard of it.
Yeah. So
Adriana's the only girl in her class around here in the open class that we don't run into any other girls that race that class, and she's pretty dominant at Viola, Illinois right now. So she's the most hated driver there, and we're cheaters right now. Like, there's been so much drama over her winning. It's crazy.
Yeah. Oh gosh. If there isn't drama at the racetrack, what fun would it be, right? Every racetrack has some kind of drama for sure. Yeah. So what's your favorite part of being involved in motorsports as a driver?
As a driver, I mean, it's really given me kind of like an all-encompassing look at racing. I was a fan and a daughter of a driver and wife of a driver for so long. It definitely gives you some respect for newer drivers out there, because my first night out, I was terrible. I was super slow, and it kind of hits you at that moment, like, this is a lot harder than it looks.
Yeah.
But I would say, just being out there on the track is a great feeling after wanting to do it for so many years. I really love making contact with fans and stuff. I don't know that I have like a ton of fans or anything, being kind of new at this, but I've definitely had moments where I've been up in the stands and had, kids approach me and ask, what class do you race in, or what's your car look like? And kids are just great. They're like, oh, I'm going to
Yeah.
cheer for you. They don't
Yeah.
care how you do. They're
No.
looking up to you because you've got a suit on. So
Yeah.
moments like that make you more aware of, I am setting an example for those kids in the stands, regardless of where I run. And it's definitely cool to see kids, especially little girls, look at somebody like me, and I hope they are like, oh, I could, I don't look that different from her. I could do that
Right.
too. And
Yeah.
that's the future of our sport. We got to keep people interested. So
Absolutely.
the other thing that we've really enjoyed is, which we missed it this year, we did the race night in Pella.
Oh yeah.
That Lori puts together, which she does a great job.
Yeah.
And events like that, where you can get those cars out into the community, are really, really eye-opening. We took my car, to my son's preschool this year, and showed it to all the preschool kids in his class. And when I got there, I just wanted to see. First thing I asked, I said, has anybody seen one of these race cars up close? And it was Sawyer and one other kid raised their hand out of 15 or 20 kids. And it was like, cool, okay, this
Yeah.
is a whole new group of kids that get to see one of these up close and sit in them and hopefully
Right.
get interested. So stuff like that's great. It makes you feel good.
And they might go home and say, hey, I sat in a race car. Can we go watch the race cars?
Yep.
That's all it takes is if your kid's interested, Amy Hosevar tells a story about Carson when he was about 4 years old. He saw the race car somewhere. I don't remember that part, but then he wanted to go, and it was this particular driver, and so he wanted to go watch him. And they started going, even had to go early to watch him practice. Carson had to be there. And that's where he got his love. He just, somewhere along the road, he saw this race car, and now he's had his first cup start. He races in the trucks. And so you don't know where those little kids are going to end up. They could be the next, Carson Hosevar or the next Martin Truex or whoever. It might
definitely
be Erica Enders or whatever, because they have to be exposed to it somehow. And a lot of parents don't know anything about racing. And so if you can take that car to the school and share it with kids who don't have a clue, and they go home and talk to their parents, that's all good. Yeah.
Yeah. We're scheduled to go to a learning center with kids. It's like a daycare basically, but it has 50 kids. So Adriana's going to go show her cart there. And then we were supposed to go to Pella. I was in Chicago. Yeah. Adriana, we have a little utility trailer that I turned into a race car trailer. If she tried she got like a quarter of the way there. She's never pulled a trailer by herself. Nobody was with her. She got scared and turned around and came home.
Yeah. Well, you'd rather she do that than something happen. So yeah.
Well, watch out when she learns to drive it, because you'll never see her again.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
She'll feel empowered, and she'll just take off with it. That's
that's her car right there.
There's her car. That's her daily
nice.
driver. I love it. Absolutely love it. Yeah, for sure. So before I let you go, I want you to share, there's a couple products that I know promote and use. And so do you want to share a little bit about those so that if people maybe don't know about them or would like to know more, they could contact you?
Yeah, definitely. I'm a rep and a retailer for Hightail hair protectors. You can go to, I think it's hightailhair.com to look at the product, but basically it's an attachment that goes on the back of your helmet. I don't have my helmet with me, otherwise I'd show you. It attaches to the back. You can basically pull your hair back and tuck it up into that little holder. I know when I first started, one of the major issues that I had when I was getting buckled in is, I've got like a modified Hans device, and you've got these tethers that have to hook up to your helmet, and I've got long hair. So it seemed like regardless of what I did with it, I was always getting like a few stray hairs like caught up in that mess.
Yeah.
And that's not fun. So it's a really great product. I'm not sure what they retail for now, maybe around $50. But I would highly suggest it to anybody that has kind of the same issue, keeps it up and out of the way.
Yeah.
When you pull your helmet off, your hair's like clean and dry. You haven't got like mud clots in it or anything. So
Especially asphalt's dirty too, but especially dirt racers. And it's
yeah.
got to feel better to
Oh
have it
yeah, for sure.
back there, out of your face, out of the wind, out of whatever. So,
So
Yeah.
it attaches to your helmet.
Yeah. So it's got 2 clips. I wish I had a
It
picture or
almost
something I
looks
could show
like a
you.
little bun thing in the back.
Yeah.
I mean, once your hair's in
like
it.
on the back of the helmet, it basically covers like a little triangle. Like if you were to look like you're about to put your helmet on, it covers a little triangle. So it's like 2 clips that mount. They're really low profile. 2 clips that mount on the back of your helmet. And then this thing just like stretches up over them. So it basically creates just a tiny little pocket for you to shove all of your hair into.
Yeah.
And I think
Taylor uses
Taylor
it.
Poole set up with one. She's got like way longer hair than I do. And I know
Yeah.
she was able, like, I haven't seen anybody who's not been able to fit all their hair into it.
Right.
So it's nice. You can take it off, wash it when you need to, because it gets filled with dust and dirt and stuff. But yeah, they work great. I've got, if you run into me anywhere at the races, I've got one that I keep in my trailer that I opened to show for just, demonstration purposes. And I'd sell it to somebody at a pretty good discount. So come see me if you want one. We'll get you set up with one. But
Maybe you can mail it to
I've
me.
had it for.
Otherwise,
I think 2 years.
how would they order one? Where would they go? Just the website?
Yeah, you can go to the website. If you choose to do the ultimate pack, you can put in Kylie 37 at checkout, and it gives you 10 or 15% off, I think.
Yeah.
I would suggest going that route. You can get 2 extra clips, I think. Yeah, I think there's 2 extra clips that come with it. So if helmets expire after so long, if you need a new helmet, you can just mount those 2 extra clips to it, and
it's really worth it. I mean, when you think about it, safety in that is one thing, and this isn't really a safety thing, and yet it could be. If there was a fire or there was anything, look at how long your hair is, and it could get caught in something, and so get it pulled back, get it in one of those high tail. I just remember and use it. It's $50. It's $50. That's well worth it. It's absolutely well worth it.
I would say so. It's a great product too, and it's held up well. The adhesive on the clips, I know that they tell you on the website that you should like unhook one side to prevent tension from staying on those clips. And I can tell you that I've left tension on it for almost 2 years and rarely take it off. And it's been in a hot trailer when it's 100 degrees, and those things are not going anywhere. So it's really good product.
It is.
We need to introduce those in the go-kart world, because I've seen girls' hair get caught in their chain.
Oh,
I've heard that before. Yeah.
Definitely. Well, Kylie, we'll have to talk about how we can get that word out there more often. More for you, because I'm really, I want to promote what you're doing, because I think it's a good product, and it's one that, what if a little girl's hair got caught in the chain? Ow. Yeah. So we need to work together on that a little bit. We'll talk about that after the show. And then I think you do a couple other things. Am I right?
Yeah, I rep for a couple other products. One is called J Times 4. It's Jessica Thornton out of Arizona, and she creates custom racewear. So she does like one-off of like your driver's number or something, which is kind of hard to find. Usually you got to buy a whole bunch of stuff like that. So definitely go check her out. She's got more than just shirts and sweatshirts. She's got a bunch of different products that can be personalized and stuff. And then the other company is Off-Road Vixens. I'm a sponsored athlete this year through them. That's kind of a new deal. They're an apparel company, and they support a lot of racers. Their big thing is like side-by-sides, dirt bikes, ATV racing and stuff. So I think I'm kind of an anomaly being a dirt racer, but it's cool that they wanted to take me on and support me a little bit this year. Also really great products. I have a ton of their apparel at this point, and it's all very high quality, really reasonably priced stuff. So I've got a discount code for that as well. But I can share those in the comments. Definitely.
All right. That sounds good. Absolutely. So social media, how does somebody follow you if they want to keep track of what you're doing or where you're racing?
Yeah. I have a content creator Facebook, so you can like look up my personal Facebook and follow it. We do have a racing page as well that we do racing updates on. I try and kind of update both of them. So our racing page is called Zach and Kylie Rawlins Racing. So you can look that up and follow it and kind of follow our adventures racing around Iowa. I do have a TikTok page. I'm going to sound really dumb because I'm not very good at TikTok, but I don't know what it's called on there.
It's all right. I think
you
if
could
we
probably
put your
find
name
that,
in, it'll
but
show it.
yeah. It seems like people always manage to find me, so there must be a way that you can search people on there.
Yeah, I think so.
But yeah, so I update that and just make some fun videos on that too.
Yeah.
And that's become kind of a fun thing for Zach and I to do. But
Okay.
yeah.
Sounds good. So, Brett, did I have anything I didn't ask her? Do you have anything that you want to know before we let her go?
Well, we need to talk. We need to let her talk about her sponsors on her car.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Definitely. Yeah. So I hope I can get all of them. So we've got Swift, which is JBS Foods. It's kind of our main sponsor on both cars. You know, they're an international company, and
Yeah.
they decided to support us as a couple small town racers. So really great company to work with. This is their second year on board, and we really appreciate their help. They've done a lot for us.
Yeah.
Kellogg Lawn and Snow, 515 Race Bodies. Sorry, I'm gonna have to look.
That's okay. Turn around and make sure you get everybody.
Yeah. Premier Concrete Pumping and Deppy Surface Preparation. Those two get a special shout out because through this motor deal, they've really kicked in some extra support to make sure that I can get something going. So
Good.
I really appreciate Premier and Deppy Surface Preparation. I've got B. Humphrey Photography, which is Ben Humphrey, and K. Humphrey Photography, which is his daughter. Look him up. His daughter, I'm probably going to get this wrong. She's 12 or 13 years old, and she is down there in the infield photographing those cars. She does a great job. So
that's cool.
Definitely go follow her. I don't know.
Performance Electric.
Performance Electric. And
Brett must have looked up something on your page. He's got it. He's got something in front of him.
I'm watching her. I'm looking at her car, making sure she gets them.
Oh, he's looking at your car.
Okay. Yeah. Hightail, and definitely a special shout out to my parents, Bruce and Jane Keith, my husband's whole family, especially Grandpa Bugs. He gives me a truck and trailer and he lets me drive it every week to get to part of the track. So we really appreciate him. And our crew guy, Charlie, and my husband. My husband does a lot too.
Yeah.
So.
You know, it takes everybody, doesn't it?
It does.
Big and small. And we're grateful for the big sponsors, and we're grateful for the small sponsors, and especially the people who give. They just want to support you. And so I love that your family is so supportive, and that's normal in racing. You know, we can't do it without our families. So that's for sure. Oh, who kicked the bucket?
Yeah, it's my son. He's actually sat out here. He's 5 years old, so I think we're at like 55 minutes, and he's been really quiet the whole time. But
I didn't even know he was out there. So he's been very, very good. So you tell him that we said he was good. So Brett we always have something we tell our folks at the end of the interview. So Brett, do you want to do that part?
Yeah. So you know, we meet a lot of people across the world, and once we meet you, you know, we basically follow you, and you become like a family member to us. So what we always like to say is, you know, anytime you ever need us, we're part of the family now, and we just want to welcome you to our family, which is a huge family of women in motorsports.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. This has been great, and I appreciate you having me on for kind of a second time here.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll get the links and things for Kylie where you can what the codes are, and I encourage you to check out those products, because you know there's products that I endorse. I don't endorse products that I don't believe in, and I know you're the same way, Kylie. So if she says that the Hightail is a good product, and I have one I got from my granddaughter, it is. If she says these companies are good, they are. I trust her. And then if it helps her in any way, get that motor and get her back on the track, it's worth all of that. And so let's help each other, and let's share what we're all doing, help each other. So we'll get that out there and we'll put it in the notes section when we we'll share the recording with you too, Kylie, and you can share that as well. So I don't have any other questions other than I hope I get to Marshalltown sometime and I can watch you and Taylor race. You know, I just had some friends here in Kalamazoo over the last weekend, and several of them live in the Iowa, Illinois area. And so I was teasing them that I was going to make my little road trip and I'd let them know what night I'd be at their house for dinner and a bed. And so every one of them said, yeah, absolutely. We'd love for you to come. So that may happen really sooner than later. Yeah. That would
be sell merchandise?
Do you sell t-shirts and sweatshirts?
Yeah, we've got a few left. We did kind of a pre-order deal this year. Unfortunately, we don't have a big crew with us. So we don't have a lot of time to put towards apparel.
Yeah.
My son's on his electric bike. That's what you're
doing. It's all right. Yeah. It's all right. My husband was on his tractor, so I got no complaints. So, all right. Well, sounds good. Well, Kylie, I hope everybody gets on Facebook, follows Kylie, follows Zach and Kylie Rawlins Racing. And then Kylie, I want you to stay in touch. And let's see, what's his name?
This is Sawyer.
Hi, Sawyer.
Hi, Sawyer.
Do you like watching your mommy race?
Yeah, he's pretty shy.
Yeah, he's pretty shy. Well, you cheer for her for me, okay? Next time she races, you say, Melinda says go. Okay? Oh, he's cute. All right, Kylie. Well, I'll reach out to you after we're done with the show or tomorrow and get that information. Then I'll post it. Okay.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you so much. It's nice to meet you both again.
Thank you. All right.
See ya.
So she's such a sweetie. I really like her. And you know, that hightail, I thought you had one of those for Adriana.
I'm going to look into it for sure because her hair always falls. She puts it up, but it falls out during the race.
Yeah, definitely. It's a good product. It's a good product for sure. So we're at our hour mark, but that's okay. We got just a little bit of some people that, I wanted to share about. And then how about you? Do you have anybody that you want to give a shout out to before I do my little short list here?
No, I mean, I'll just talk about Adriana's race in the past couple weeks.
Okay.
Just like we always do at the end of the show. We switched gears this year. We started out at English Creek, racing for points, but we had bad motor trouble at the beginning of the season, so it knocked us out of the points there. So now we're racing closer to home, an hour closer.
Yeah.
In Viola, Illinois, and Adriana has won 3 out of the 4 races and got second on the 4th one. We tried new stuff in it just to see if we could get faster than we already were, and it hurt us. But so we're in second points there by 1 point. You know, like we're only out by 1. So other than that, been staying busy. Adriana, if you follow her racing page, she just she picked a 1964 Comet to be her daily driver. She had a choice of a modern car or whatever she wanted, and that's what she picked. Then, other than that, we stayed busy last night. Went to the Jelly Roll concert.
I saw. Yeah. You better keep your eye on that girl of yours.
Oh yeah, she thought it would be. She always wants everybody to add her on Snapchat. So last night she wrote her Snapchat name on her back, like wrote with a Sharpie, and she had over 100 friend requests, and people always, you know, I look young, so everybody always thinks that, like,
I know
that they always think we're together. So she had me write, "He's my dad," and an arrow pointing to me on her back.
Yeah.
But no, it was a good time.
Because that picture of the two of you, you know, it's deceiving because she looks older than she is and you look younger than you are. And so, and the way things are nowadays, you know, it could very possibly be that way. And so, I knew that was a concert she's wanted to go to for a long time.
Yeah, it was a good time. First concert I've been to that I can remember. So
really, that's cool. So she races on what, Friday nights?
Friday nights. We're back at Viola this Friday.
Yep. Okay. All right. Sounds good. Well, I've got a few shout outs. So of course, Bad Addison is Bad Addison again. She said it was an off week for one of the tracks, so they went to Caroga Creek, and they thought they were the slowest car, but guess what? She got first place. So she thinks she's slow until she gets out there, and I think her energy kicks in and her drive kicks in, and she sees those other cars, and then all of a sudden, look out, here she comes. She said that she had to work hard for this one, but I love giving her a shout out because we love her for sure. So that's Bad Addison Racing, and then Camille Fitzpatrick. I'm going to do an interview with her. She's one of the young gals that I've known since probably since 2017. Her dad heard about me from somebody and reached out. She lives here in Michigan, and she's a great little driver. And when I was at the Michigan Speedway Promoters Association banquet, she won a whole bunch of awards. And so her dad is staying in touch with me a little better, so I know what she's doing. So she was at Silver Bullet Speedway, and she finished 6th, which is good. They're very competitive racing there. So I want to give her a shout out. And then Taylor Reimer, I saw this. Somebody had said that she hadn't raced very good. And then somebody else said Jade was there. Jade Avadisian. I want to say it right. I believe she finished 10th. And then I think Taylor finished like 12th or 13th right behind her. So, those girls are racing some tough competition. So the fact that they finished 10th or 12th or 15th even is still really good. And there's some really good talent there for sure. In the North Carolina Quarter Midget Association that I follow, there was some Aaliyah Rose. So it's ALEAH, Aaliyah Rose Racing. He said, not the results we wanted to see in the Light 160, but got her Honda. She raced a senior Honda and got on the platform. So that was cool. I liked seeing that for her. She's a nice young gal. And it says on here, Light 160 11th, senior Honda 3rd. So I've got a picture of her, but I don't know if I can get it on there. But anyway, she's a sweet girl, and I wanted to make sure that she got a shout out. So Betty McCollin was the Heat 2 winner at Blackbird Quarter Midget Race Club. I've had a lot of quarter midget clubs start to follow me. So somebody I follow must be sharing about us. So that's really good. I love seeing that. Arjo Racing. Oh my gosh, Brent, we could have a whole show, just you and I, talking about her. So she's going to be featured in our magazine. And and so he's got one that's really way too long for me to read at the moment because we're running a little over. But he puts great race recaps up on Facebook. So follow Arjo Racing. It's RJO Racing. Yep. And that gal just does amazing, amazing things in her community, on the racetrack, everywhere.
Yeah, I just wrote that article about Arjo, so make sure you guys check out the magazine too.
It's going to be coming out by the end of the week, so
yeah,
it'll be in there. So Katie Barthel, Barthel, Barthel. I want to make sure we have it. She won the main feature on Friday and Saturday night, but I couldn't figure out what racetrack she was at. But and Katie's a little older. She's not under 18. I don't know how old she is, but Katie, way to go. I'm glad to see you won the feature, not only on Friday, but Saturday night as well. So that was really cool. And then you posted about Adriana. She finished 2nd Friday night. And then I want to give a shout out to, and I'm going to try to hold the picture up there. So this is Camille Lewis, and Camille raced at Galesburg, which is one of the tracks that Maddie, my granddaughter, races at, a lot. And I've known Camille and her mom for a long time, and they have been long time, supporters of the Women's Motorsports Network. They have been members. They joined when we had the lifetime membership option. and they are wonderful people. They're wonderful racers. They're clean racers, and they support their tracks. And I was tickled to see that she won. I wasn't there on Saturday night, but I was so glad to see that Camille won the race. And so I wanted to give her a shout out. Abby Gunter, we like Abby too. Well, we like all of them, but we follow Abby quite a bit. She had a P2 finish at Mountain Creek Speedway in Catawba, North Carolina on Sunday. And so she also races at Millbridge.
Yep.
Yeah. And she's just getting better all the time.
Right now, she has a loaner motor in, and it's just a 125cc racing against the 250cc. So, I mean, for what she's doing with that, once she's learning with that small motor what to do with when the big motor comes now. So,
yeah, and she's a sweet girl, and we just, we love, and the reason these gals are getting shout outs is because they're tagging us on their posts, and then I get a notification that we've been tagged. And so then if you tag us on our Success Sunday post, it's better really if you go to the Success Sunday post and post it. But if you tag us, I try to reach out and find as many as I can, between noon and like 4:30, 5 o'clock on Sunday. So Aubrey Walker, says this weekend was a win. I had to try my very hardest, but ended up getting first in women's D. And I believe that is quads. She races quads. So again, I came across a website or a Facebook page that's all quads, and there's so many women that race quads. So we're probably going to have a lot more of those stories and maybe some interviews with some of those women. And they're all ages. They're little tiny girls up to, adult women. So I would, somebody told me the other day they had a lawnmower that they thought would be fun to race, and that I should get into lawnmower racing. And I said, yeah, I don't think so. But I think it would be fun to do lawnmower racing. I really do. Yeah. And so then, yeah. So, and I told you about Jade. I think Jade, they said, got 10. She was leading, and then she had a caution, and somebody pushed her up on the cushion, and she lost 7 places.
That was
finished
Taylor.
10th.
What's
that?
So Taylor Reimer was started 17th and made her way to 12th.
Yeah. So, and this one guy on here said she never recovered from there or something, and I was like, okay, well, I'd say that's a pretty good run myself. But anyway, people don't always know what they're talking about.
And Jade finished 7th. She started 10th, finished 7th.
Yeah.
And
so
Katie Barthel was at Aztec Speedway.
Okay, I'm glad you have time to find all that up, because
whenever you mention something, I search. If you see my hand up here, that's what I'm doing.
I see it. That's awesome. And Maddie, my granddaughter, she graduated from high school since we've had a show.
Congratulations.
I'm so proud of her. And she had her grad party today, which was nice, even though it was a little chilly. We had it out at the park in Richland, and we had a really nice crowd of people come to celebrate her. And she raced on Friday night at Kalamazoo. She started 14th, and I think she might have finished 14th, but her car wasn't running very good. But I want to tell you about her a couple weeks ago. There was a $2,500 to win race at Galesburg. And so she went to the race to race it. And there were only 8 cars in the race, which was unbelievable. But I heard Owasso, Michigan, had a really big race that night too. So that probably drew, some of the other cars. But she started, I want to say she started 3rd. She went right to the top, went right to 1st. It was a 50-lap race. She led the first 27 laps. And then there was a caution, and then she got passed, and she ended up 2nd. But the thing that was cool was not only did she just drive an amazing race, but the guy that won in the past maybe hasn't always been the nicest driver. But he put the nicest post on Facebook about Maddie, what a clean race she drove, and the guy who won 3rd, which I can't remember now who that was. What a clean race they drove, what a fun race it was. And I love seeing that, because I think she's gotten now the reputation of she deserves to be out there. She's not just out there, you know, and so I love seeing that, and that made me feel really good about that. And so we're going to have Maddie on the show in a couple weeks on Sunday night. I'm going to make her talk because she won't talk a lot, so we'll have to, you know, press her about that. But yeah, so that's everybody that I had. So if you want to be featured on Sunday night, if you want us to give you a shout out, make sure that you look for the post on Sunday that says Success Sunday. Put your post under there or tag us, and then we'll try to give you a shout out on Sunday night. Okay. Now, next week is Father's Day. Brett's not going to be able to be here. I'm not sure what we'll be doing. So I'm thinking we're going to let everybody celebrate their fathers next Sunday. Somebody just told me a little while ago by text that there are some races around that are scheduled for Sunday evening, which is unusual. I don't know why, but school's out, so they may be doing some stuff. So I think next week we're going to take a break. Again, we've had a few breaks, but that's okay. And then the week after that, we'll be back with a guest. And so, yeah, everybody enjoy the next couple weeks off. And that's about it for me. How about you, Brett? Anything else?
Nope, not. It's too late in the game to bring the subject up that I want to bring up, so I'll wait till next week or the following after.
Well, let's start with that next time.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Sounds good. Well, you know what? The magazine will be out by the end of the week, and Arjo's going to be on the front page of the magazine. And we got some other really good stories too. So watch for that. Watch for the link for that. And then, yeah, that's all I've got. I'm going to go have some dinner. How about you?
I'm going to go eat ice cream.
I'm not having ice cream for dinner, but it's 8:15 and my stomach's gurgling. So, all right, everybody. Thanks for being on with us here, listening in. Be sure to follow us and share what we're doing, because the more that we have that do that, the better for all of us. So have a great week, and we'll see you soon. Good night.
See you later.